The one really cool thing that I'm gonna do for my husband, and I'm not gonna say what it is because it's gonna be a huge surprise, but I'm gonna take some of our money and I'm gonna buy him a present. And I don't know 100% what it's gonna be today. I know there's like 2 or 3 things that he really wants that I wanna spend a little bit more money on. So we'll see. I'm excited to shop for my husband. We never spend money. Like when we buy those expensive Merrell boots and equipment, we find outlet stores. Like we're not rich. In fact, like we both work. My job, I'll explain that maybe on this video, but I do have a job. It's actually a grant system by the government that it's called the Michelle P. waiver. When you have a mentally or physically disabled child, you can apply for this grant. And it actually is a new Kentucky grant. I don't know if it's Kentucky or statewide. I know if I move out of Kentucky, I lose it. And there's like a 7-year waiting list. So we got on it right when it came out. And that was back when Hunter was like 6, because it's for Hunter. Hunter is our most autistically disabled child, but it covers all of them. You get it per child. You can work 40 hours a week. You get a certain amount of money to be their caregiver, their nurse, their therapist, their nutritionist, their everything. I am paid to do all of those things. I could not at that time have a job because I was being called every single day by the school or by principals or by caregivers or by teachers to come and get Hunter and deal with the situation. The situation was usually Hunter is violent. He's having an autistic meltdown. He is throwing furniture. Like, you have no idea. I have videos of what we went through, and you should go back and look at them because we have come so far. But anyway, I could probably get a part-time job. That's why we're trying school. I don't really have to have a job because I have this grant until, oh, I know this video is bad filming. I'm sorry, guys. But I have this grant until Hunter is 18 years old. And I am his caregiver. I am his everything. I do all of it for him. I have self-educated. I don't have credentials, but I know how to do all of those things. So the government pays me a full-time wage to do that so that I can be available for this child that needs that kind of care. If I wasn't doing it, we would be hiring somebody else to be teaching him all these things, which means that I would still be driving him to all these appointments and having people come in and all those things. We could use the grant money to hire someone else to do the jobs that I'm doing. But basically, I get paid 32 hours a week at like my pay because I do so much more than the average parent. Medically, I get paid $22 an hour, a little bit more than that. But I had to work my way up to that and prove the different caregiving skills that I do for my kid. So that's my job. It's a grant. It's a government grant that they give to disabled parents that you have to apply for and you have to be on a waiting list for, because there's a budget for the year that you get and they allot it to you in hours. Like, I clock in every day that I work and I clock out every day. I get 6 hours a day, 4 days a week. Basically, it's like 32 hours a week. And then Brandon has his full-time job. And then my dad and my brother both own companies. So whenever they need extra work, like I used to do collections for them, just over the phone from home. And that was a job that I could do from home, even when my kids were like in school, because I was running back and forth giving medications and things. So and at one time my husband lost his job for 9 months in the medical field because of Obamacare and some other situations. And I actually went and worked with a tool belt, taking off gaskets in restaurants and medical places and stuff on the freezers. I installed gaskets for my brother's company, and I have soldered electronics and put together circuit boards and all kinds of things for my dad's company. I mean, I'm a rock star, but whatever. That's how we make our money. So I want to just say here that there are things out there that parents that are desperate, like I was at that time and my family was at that time, that there are programs like this Michelle P. waiver for all kinds of things. Things like Mason's diabetes, you know what I mean? his medications are beyond ridiculously expensive. And so are the devices that he has to use to stay alive. His pump that gives him insulin, his monitor that tells us his blood sugars every 5 minutes. I mean, those things are beyond expensive. Plus the price of the insulin. I mean, you've got to think, these are things that literally keep this kid alive, and this is just diabetes. I mean, there are things out there, there's a million things out there that people are suffering with that are just like this. So, I mean, we found out about it's not Medicare, it's Medicaid, but it's specifically, it's called WellCare for these kinds of kids. They are medically disabled, and that it pays for their insulin. So, I mean, President Trump, hate him, love him, whatever. He was working on insulin costs, and for that, I love him. But it's ungodly expensive to have a medical problem or to have a mental problem, because you would not believe how expensive the kids' medications are, my medications. So, plus special diets and all kinds of things. Parents like us that have these kinds of kids and lives that are medically and mentally difficult and cost a lot of money, but it also costs a lot of brain power, because we spend most of our days worrying about the kids or the medical problem or whatever it is. So we have very little left to look for things like grants and help. Babysitters that can handle the situation. That was the biggest problem. There's something called respite that you can apply for. And with our Michelle P. waiver, we had it for many years, where they will pay babysitters to come in, trained babysitters, people that can handle your specific child's situation. And they will pay the babysitting cost, like directly to them, to a bank account. It's amazing. These things are out there, and parents like me don't know about them. There should be support for parents that literally, maybe they're out there. Maybe there's places where you can look for grants, and maybe there's Facebook pages or Instagram or something where you can go and look. It would be great if you could type in your kid's official disability and say what money or what job type grants are available, so that I can be available for my child, so I don't feel like my child's gonna die. Because that's what I said to someone to find out about the Michelle P. waiver. And that was like back when it was all, you had to fill out the paperwork, you had to drive it downtown and hand in the paperwork, and that was your clock in and what you're working on with the child during your clock in times. And now it's just different. But my point is that we need a better system for parents that are struggling like this. The honesty, it's not a secret, the Michelle P. waiver, but it's a 7-year waiting list. So, I mean, it's been life-altering for my children. But, I mean, that's a 7-year waiting list. I mean, what are these other parents doing? I feel for them.